Hello and welcome back. I'm Rajesh Mahapatra and you are watching Tracking Trends. This past Wednesday, that is on August 4, the Finance Minister introduced a legislation in Parliament which seeks to amend Section 10A of the Payment and Settlement Systems Act of 2007. Essentially, it will change the way we conduct our digital transactions on the most popular UPI platform. The bill allows the government to, at a later date, have the authority to levy a fee or a charge on digital transactions. Right now, this most popular platform, when you conduct a transaction, you do not pay any charge. There is yet another change that the government made a few weeks ago, which is to allow e-commerce companies, foreign e-commerce companies, to own inventory and products for the purpose of exports in India. Currently, they are not allowed to do so. Both these have an impact on one segment directly, which is the small producer, the small trader, the kirana stores, the shopkeeper, the street vendors. There are many questions that are being raised as to why the government has done it. What could be the impact? To dive deeper into these issues, I have with me today Mr. Ajay Srivastava, a trade expert, a former uh, Indian Trade Service official who has his own think tank called the Global Trade Research Initiative, GTRI, and probably there is no one who can speak on trade issues with greater authority than Mr. Ajay Srivastava. We have had him on the shows. But before I go over to Mr. Srivastava, my request, as always, if you haven't subscribed to our channel, please do so right away. Spread the word around and stay tuned. Mr. Srivastava, take it from here. Tell us, what is this legislation? What does it provide for? What does it seek to do?
Oh, thanks, Rajeshji, for inviting me to the show. So let's understand from the beginning. We all are using UPI, RuPay debit card, RuPay credit card. In the past few years, the usage has increased. Up to July this year, more than $300 billion worth of transactions equivalent to Indian rupees have taken place through UPI platform alone. So I'm telling you this figure just to show how much we use. I can make a 5 rupee payment to my vegetable vendor for buying dhania or pudina, or I can pay thousands of dollars, lakhs of rupees using UPI or RuPay debit card. So why government is bringing all these changes? So today the services are free. So let's understand what services are free. So first, UPI transaction of any kind is free. That the act, that section 10A of Payment and Settlement Systems Act 2007 ensures that banks or merchants or nobody is allowed to charge any transaction fee. So it's free.
That is premised on the belief that UPI is a public digital infrastructure. It is a public good, and therefore we should not charge any fee, right? That has been kind of the unstated understanding so far.
You are correct. So UPI is free because of this understanding you just explained. The use of RuPay debit card is also free. Banks can issue and can happily integrate with the UPI system. And so it's there is no usage charge on UPI, on a RuPay debit card also. Then comes the final thing, RuPay credit card. So if I integrate RuPay credit card for transactions up to 2,000 rupees, there is no charge. After that, some small charges are there. So these three have revolutionized Indian payment system. And not only in India, they are used mostly in the neighboring countries and the far countries like Singapore also. And so what's the problem? Everything is free, and the government, according to some reports, is incurring about 2200 crore rupees annually on cost of maintaining servers, software, etc. for running this infrastructure. So RBI Governor Mr. Sanjay Malhotra's
2200
statement,
crore.
2200 crore rupees. Days back, RBI Governor Mr. Sanjay Malhotra said that since there's an expenditure on maintaining servers and software, etc., for supporting UPI, RuPay debit card, etc., then this part of this expenditure needs to be recovered through some means. And the law introduced in the Lok Sabha maybe trying to do just that. So this is one part of the story. The other part of the story, interesting part of the story, is that what is happening is that this success of UPI, RuPay debit card, RuPay credit card has brought down the business of Mastercard and Visa, the two largest US credit card companies, and they are lobbying here and there for changes in Indian laws so that their fortunes may be reversed.
Please go ahead.
Before the arrival of UPI few years back or RuPay debit card, RuPay credit card, even smaller transactions, either we were doing in cash or we were using credit cards, and most of the credit cards, even for domestic transactions, they were Visa or from Mastercards. So now that is not there. Most of their business, they continue doing business in India, but business has come down. Who will pay 1 to 3% transaction charge when it's available for free? That's the sole reason it is happening. So American government is not only after India, they are after any country who is introducing such policies. One country which faced American wrath is Brazil. So, Section 301 investigations, America started last year against them. They passed an order and imposed 25% tariffs on most goods Brazil exports to US. There are several reasons, and one of the important reasons is that Brazil has a UPI type of system called PIX, instant payment system. They say discriminates against American companies, and that's one of the reasons America is putting 25% tariffs on India. Same story is playing out in India. Now we have to understand this thing. The interesting part is that one set of American companies are losing business, but the UPI business, who runs this UPI business? This server cost, everything is borne by the Indian taxpayer, but who runs these? 80% of the transactions are through two American firms. One is Google Pay, and second is Phone Pay. Phone Pay used to be Indian startup, then it was bought by Walmart. Now it's a Walmart American firm. So, in even the current circumstances, another set of American companies are running the UPI and they're getting from it. So, one set of American companies are replaced by another set, but America doesn't want even that. They say, okay, let Google Pay, Phone Pay thrive, but why our old firms like Visa and MasterCard do business in India? So, if you do some changes in UPI or debit card business, then their business will come back. How that can be done? You introduce some charges. If you introduce some charges in a UPI business or in debit card, some restrictions, then of course people will start cutting their uses. I'll start using cash. I'll start using credit cards, and so the legislation, which is the bill, which is submitted in the Lok Sabha, doesn't talk much. It says it provides powers to the government to do any changes it want, any restrictions it want in the payment systems, which will be free, which will be charged. Government can decide at its own level without approaching the parliament. So it's giving a free hand to the government. So once that legal wall is gone, then you know what will happen. So initially there's a talk that there's a proposal for 0.25%, 2.5%. It looks very less if you want to justify this. But ultimately, we have to see this is not something which should be taxed. This is, as you rightly explained in the very beginning, this is digital public infrastructure. We make ports, airports, seaports, roads. We don't tax everything. Only some of the roads are tolled. These are public infrastructure. This brings business from cash. Cash for printing cash alone, RBI spent 5,000 crores last year. I don't know how much they spend on circulating cash and cash economy. Then cash means informal economy. UPI ensure that everything, even a vegetable vendor, becomes a part of the formal economy. So cash economy is more expensive. If you put any hurdles in this digital economy, then people will turn towards cash or whatever reason. It will towards informal economy, and it will be more expensive. So government will not be paying, will not be saving money, as we were told that 2,200 crores is being spent. No, on notes you are spending 5,000 crores and much more on circulating those, maintaining those accounts, putting cashiers and everywhere. Lost
I mean,
hours, all those.
there are these offsetting numbers we can talk about, that the RBI spends 5,000 crore in printing new notes, and because of, had the UPI not been there, they would have been probably spending 7,000 crore, 8,000 crore. So that's one side of the story. The other side, I mean, every person who has, you talked about street vendors, small shopkeepers. One of their biggest fears used to be they used to get mugged, or their friends, people will come, take them. Okay, they would get drunk, they would lose money. These are, we don't get to know because we have privileged life, but getting robbed, getting mugged was a daily affair for many of these people who had these small little shops. When they would wind up at night, uh, somebody or the other will fall victim. And one of the biggest thing that UPI has done, the externalities are actually unbelievable. The way our underclass now transacts, the kind of money they save, time they save, and that adds to their productivity. I mean, I think there is a significant amount of productivity enhancement that has happened because of the UPI. UPI has, in a way, hugely empowered a lot of people. So, I mean, there is no way you can compare a 2,200 crore that you are spending in maintaining servers with the huge externalities. If at all some economist is to put a figure on that, they will run into thousands, tens of thousands of crores. That aside, let me ask you. You said 0.25 to 0.5% may not look big, but if you just the figure I took from your note alone, the total transactions were, it was a July 2026 figure that you were citing, which was 29.9 lakh crore. So, even a 0.25% of this runs into several crores in
Yes.
fees. So it's not a small amount. It may appear small, and 2,360 crore transactions. That's the number that you gave in your note. So that's not small. Now, tell me something. As of now, the government is not putting any charge. It is just taking the authority. It is empowering itself to, at a later date, consider if it can allow for merchants to charge a fee on this. And as you said, it is possible that this has been done partly under the pressure of certain firms which are in this same business and which have lost their business to UPI. Now, at this stage, what can be done to make sure that the government doesn't charge? And the government has said that on select transactions also it can do.
Let the bill lapse. Don't take any decision on the bill. The moment we pass a bill, even without jacking up the price, it gives the powers to the bureaucrats at the local level. They don't need to come, departments don't need to come to the parliament for such changes. It is too big a change. UPI is the biggest thing we ever created. Half the world's online transactions, instant transactions, they happen on UPI. It has gone outside India. Many countries have adopted this, and it's a matter of pride for us. And we know what are the options. If we revert back means we will be spending more of taxpayers' money to maintain a cash driven system. So we should not revert back. This bill should lapse.
Okay. What about the other change that I mentioned, the e-commerce thing?
That's very
Why did the
interesting.
government do that?
So some here again in the background, maybe we will never know for certainty, but in the background, maybe some American firms, e-commerce firms like Amazon, Walmart, uh, maybe there. So still now, for the past at least 20 years, government says if a foreign firm operates in India in e-commerce space, then it can bring FDI and sell, display and sell the goods, Indian goods of Indian buyers. It cannot buy its own goods, store its own goods, and then sell it. So first model, it's called marketplace model, where suppose Amazon is there, it will be displaying and selling the goods of thousands of Indian MSMEs or big firms. It's marketplace model. Amazon is just provides a website, a platform, a marketplace. Second is inventory model, where Amazon owns the products. It can buy the products from India or China or any country, store it and sell it as its own product. So FDI was allowed in the marketplace model because it thought it will be promoting MSME's products. But we were not allowing FDI on the inventory model because we thought that then MSMEs will be extracted and e-commerce firms may start selling other country products and all those things. But that's why it was not being allowed. Now a change has been there. With the first change is that we say okay, inventory model is allowed, but it's allowed only if an e-commerce firm sells Indian made products abroad. So it's limited to only exports of Indian made products. But again, we say, the breach in the wall is done. That hole has been created. Today, we are saying Indian made products are allowed for exports in inventory model. So we have breached that. There is nothing, we don't have to do anything in inventory model. We breached that. We allowed inventory model in limited extent. This is testing the waters. In few months, we'll see the pressure starts coming again for allowing this for local sales also, and that will happen the moment that's my fear for UPI also. You change the law, you don't take decision how much is to be charged. That decision others will be taking it down below. They will not approach the parliament again. Same here. You have breached this wall. You allowed inventory model in a limited way. Tomorrow that hole will expand and you have to allow everything. And and the interesting thing is that we are being told by many experts that this is good for Indian exporters, MSMEs. They cannot export their goods. That is correct. Also, they don't have money to invest in marketing. So foreign e-commerce firms now they will buy their products and they will export it. It's good for the India. But if you know the details are like this. If if an MSME is there, now e-commerce platform will be buying the product. So MSME will be a supplier to that e-commerce platform, not an exporter. The e-commerce platform will
Right.
be the exporter. They will realize the money in foreign exchange and will pay the Indian MSME in rupees only. So MSME will be a supplier only. And what's the need for changing FDI rules for this? No, there was no need. This model already is available in India. There is the DGFT policy called export houses, trading houses, wherein what happens, we realize that MSMEs are small firms, they cannot invest in marketing and those things. So export houses are big firms, they are recognized by the government. MSM, they buy products for MSMEs and they sell abroad and they get the money in their own name, dollars, and they pay MSMEs in rupees. The same model we do. So what is being allowed by changing by making the inventory model liberal is already available. So I say this, the purpose will come to know in few months is just to create a hole in the wall. That hole will expand.
I mean, if I'm getting the essence of your argument, uh, although we cannot say these changes are being brought forth to benefit specific foreign companies, but we can make the conjecture that companies like Amazon would benefit from changes in the FDI rules vis-a-vis allowing them now to own inventory platforms here for export purpose. Similarly, in the case of the UPI payment, we can also make a conjecture that companies like Visa and MasterCard will stand to benefit. We do not know is it because of any pressure from them that the government is doing this, but what we can surely say that this is not going to work to the benefit of the small traders, the MSMEs, the street vendors, and it is actually in a way it could undermine also the huge success of UPI that we have had. This is not in the larger interest, and policies should actually be made keeping the larger interest of our own people, of our own business, of our own industry in mind. Here, no matter how much we stretch our imagination, the only way it points to us that the beneficiaries are likely to be foreign companies, American companies in particular, and therefore there is a reasonable doubt that can be in our mind that it could be getting done under pressure from the US. Why? We do not know. We leave it at that. Thank you very much for your time, Ajay ji.
Thank you, Rajesh ji.